Hello and welcome to the second lecture on canines. This one is on breeds. So the zoological classification of domestic dogs is as follows. They are in kingdom Animalia. They are animals. Phylum Chordata, relating to the spinal cord vertebrae. They are class mammals. Order Carnivora or carnivores. Family Canidae, and genus, specifically Canis, and species Familiaris for the domestic canine. So when we're talking about breeds, we're getting this terminology when it comes to canines basically from the AKC, or American Kennel Club, determines what is a breed and what is not. And interestingly enough, they just recently this week certified a new breed, something called a Lancashire Heeler has been accepted as a new breed. But a purebred dog is basically a dog that has known parentage where both its parents were registered as purebred. So for example, here we have a poodle and a golden retriever. Now when two purebred dogs mate and have a child, puppy, this is a hybrid. So for example, the golden doodle, which is a mixture of two purebred dogs, is a hybrid. Now we have two parents that are not registered or unknown parentage, and they have a puppy. This is known as a mixed breed. So when owners are selecting a pet canine, breed selection does take a little bit of thought to select the breed that's right for you. So for example, your living space, is it going to accommodate a large breed dog? Are the dogs good with children? Are they better indoors versus outdoors if you don't have a yard? Are they high level energy? Do you have the time to give this dog a lot of playtime and exercise if that's what the breed needs? If they need a lot of room to run, do you have a large yard? What kind of shelter do they need? If they have short or long hair, dogs with longer hair generally need a lot more grooming and attention to their coat. Different healthcare needs, breed health problems. So certain breeds can definitely be more apt to certain diseases or genetic issues. Are you going to use the dog for breeding? Are you going to use them for show purposes? What are their training needs? What are their nutritional needs? Certain breeds may have certain deficiencies and nutritional deficiencies that they need to make up for in their diet. And then lastly, if there are any restrictions in your area. For example, right now we have something going on in the UK where they can't have the XL bully dogs. So all of this goes into choosing the right breed for you. So one of the ways that breeds are characterized is by their skull. And this is also one of the ways that many mammals are classified zoologically. Now, with dogs, we have three types of skulls that we refer to. The mesocephalic is what we refer to as a normal or mid-sized skull and snout shape. Example would be a Labrador, the Pit Bull, the Cocker Spaniel. And then we have the longer snout, which is the dolichocephalic, which you can see here on the top left. The example that we have here is a greyhound. Other dogs with dolichocephalic or elongated skulls are the Saluki or the Italian greyhound. And then we have the brachiocephalic. So when we were talking about breeds that are genetically disposed to certain disorders, these dogs are definitely prone to have dyspnea or difficulty breathing due to the flattened nature of their skulls, which actually affects their soft palate. So these dogs, again, example, bulldog, Frenchies, they will turn blue with too much restraint. So you do have to keep an eye on them when you're working with these animals, especially if they're already in respiratory distress. This is a dog that we would use, for example, a gauze muzzle on instead of a cloth muzzle because they already have a hard time breathing. So, as I mentioned, the breed standards are basically set in motion by the AKC, or American Kennel Club, which was founded in 1884 and is the leading canine purebred registration organization in the United States. And there are roughly about 340 dog breeds throughout the world. The AKC only recognizes about 193 different breeds. And as I mentioned, they just added one recently. So this number is always changing. But there are 7 groups of dogs that are differentiated in those breeds. I do recommend that you check out the dog breed selector and their site, and you will see that they have lots of information about every breed that they do recognize, and it's a pretty interesting website. So, as I mentioned, there are 7 groups that these dogs breeds are categorized into, and those groups are the herding group, the toy group, the hound group, the non-sporting group. As you would expect, there is a sporting group, the working group, and the terrier group. And again, here are these breeds again. Each group has roughly about 30 different dogs in it. The non-sporting is around 20 and the toy is around 20, but the other ones are around 30 different dogs in each group. We're going to go over each one and give you some examples of each one. And then the miscellaneous are some up-and-coming breeds that are working towards full recognition. The herding group, which was created in 1983, members were formerly members of the working group. All these breeds share the innate ability to control the movement of other animals. They do this by either nipping at their heels or circling. One example is the corgi, which can herd mini cows many times its size by leaping and nipping at their heels. So most of these dogs, as pets, are not in contact with farm animals, so they do take this herding instinct to heart, and they may herd the members of the family, such as other pets or the children, by some of these same methods. And as you can see here, we have a lot of shepherds, collies, sheepdogs in this class. So some examples of dogs in the herding group are the Australian cattle dog, for example, which is a mix of Dalmatian, dingo, collie, and sheepdog. The Australian shepherd, which are still herding in the American West, and some are rodeo performers, and they're just a very versatile breed. Some of them work as therapy dogs. We have the bearded collie here, which you can see in paintings all the way back to the 1700s in British portraits. Some painters, such as Reynolds and Gainsborough, included dogs recognizable as beardies in portraits of well-heeled Scottish clients. This indicates that somewhere along the way, the humble shepherd's dog became a fashionable ornament of high society. Then we have the Belgian Malinois. They're highly sought after as police, military dogs. They've served in such distinction in Fayetteville, North Carolina, for example. There's a memorial to military dogs, a life-size bronze of a Belgian Malinois there. And then the Border Collie, which is one of the smartest dogs, a cross between old Roman dogs and Viking Spitzers, due to wars and colonization, which produced a compact and agile herder well equipped to work stock in hilly, rocky highlands of Scotland and Wales. These border collies also rule championship levels of the fast-paced sport of agility. They routinely, over and over again, come up as one of the world's smartest dogs. And then the Welsh corgi, sorry. They're among the oldest of British breeds. The corgi, originally Kurgi, is ancient Celtic for dog. And historians surmise that ancient corgis were brought from Central Europe to Wales by the Celts during their mass migrations to Britain some 3,000 years ago. So we can say that, however, with some certainty that corgis were driving Welsh herds up to 1,000 years ago. Now, I'm not going to ask you breed specifics. as far as like their history, height, or weight. You're going to see all that stuff on their website if you're interested in a certain breed. But some of the ones that we delve into a little deeper, you may need to know some of the diseases that they are more prone to. Okay, so as I mentioned, if you go to the AKC website, you can learn a whole lot about any of these breeds, everything from their height, their colors, their weight, their history, their nutrition, their training and grooming needs. I personally like the history, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. So more of the herders, one would be the Collie, which is obviously well known as Lassie. Was popularized by Queen Victoria, who just loved everything about Scotland, and she is partially responsible because she loved to stay in the Balmoral Castle on the Scottish Highlands for making the breed popular. Then we have the German Shepherd dog, who in the late 1800s was developed by a German cavalry officer, Captain Max von Stephanitz, made his mission to develop the ideal German herder. And von Stephanitz and other breeders crossed various strains from the northern and central districts of Germany, resulting in the ancestors of today's German Shepherd. The miniature American Shepherd, which in the 1960s was a small size Australian Shepherd, which was working in the US rodeo circuit and was bred to further reduce their size. The new breed was originally called the miniature Australian Shepherd. Then we have the Old English Sheepdog, which in the 1700s, the English sheepdog in Britain was bred from dogs that had Scotch, European, and Russian ancestry. And so they're not technically English and they're not technically sheepdogs either, because they were actually used to move cattle. And then we have the Pembroke Welsh Corgi. Henry I of Britain invited some craftsmen to live in the southwestern part of Wales, and these people brought the dogs from their culture that they needed to herd their cattle and sheep, and these were the short-legged herders that became the Pembroke Welsh Corgi. The Pembroke Welsh Corgi, the biggest difference between him and the Cardigan Welsh Corgi that we can see today is in the ears. The ears of the Pembroke Welsh Corgi are pointed and erect, whereas the Cardigan Corgi has more rounded ears. And then lastly on this page we have the Shetland Sheepdog, which was bred on the Rocky Shetland Islands, the United Kingdom's northernmost point. They were employed by farmers to herd sheep, ponies, and poultry. Toonie dog was an old slang name for the Shelties because toon is a Shetland word for farm. And the reason why they bred them smaller than the other collies was because due to their compact size, they ate less, and they were also, because of this, convenient in a harsh, cold climate where food is scarce in the environment. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about the German Shepherd. This is obviously a very common breed and one that you will see quite often. Again, they originated in Germany in about 1899. They are distinguished and well known for their loyalty, their courage, their confidence, and their ability to learn and retain training. That's why we see a lot of canine cop dogs or German Shepherds, service dogs, agility dogs, confirmation animals, and obedience dogs. There are plenty of famous German Shepherds like Rin Tin Tin. So, unfortunately, these dogs are prone to certain diseases. One of them is hip and elbow dysplasia. They are prone to eye disease. Most German Shepherds are healthy, but depending on breeders, if they're not screening them, other things they may be prone to are degenerative myelopathy, and they can also experience bloat because of their shape, their barrel-like chest, which is a very sudden and life-threatening swelling of the abdomen, and owners should definitely be educated about this if they have a German Shepherd, about its symptoms and what to do should bloat occur. So hip dysplasia is definitely something that we're going to want you guys to remember and be educated on. It's something that, these dogs are frequently screened for with hip x-rays, and you should be able to identify this when you're looking at an x-ray. So what is hip dysplasia? It is basically a skeletal condition where the hip joint, the ball and socket do not fit, or they develop not properly, leading to a grinding and rubbing instead of a smooth sliding. So that ball and socket should, be lined up so that it's not grinding, and so it can have motion in that joint. So again, some contributing factors, maybe genetics. German Shepherds, for example, are genetically disposed to this, hereditary, but can be magnified by excessive growth rate, different types of exercise, and improper weight and nutrition. So with a dog that's experiencing this, you will see that they're having difficulty getting up, jumping, or running, kind of bunny hopping. They have a weird gait. They seem painful, stiff, among other symptoms that you may see. The treatment for this is weight loss is definitely going to help to take the weight off of that painful joint. Restricting exercising, physical therapy to increase range of motion, anti-inflammatory medications, joint fluid modifiers, or surgery like the FHO or THR. So a FHO is a femoral head osteectomy, and a THR is a total hip replacement. Okay, so here we have some radiographs demonstrating this hip dysplasia. So here you have the normal hips, and you can see right in here the socket is fitting in nicely. So the ball fits into the joint here the way it's supposed to, and the legs are lined up. And then in the moderate hip dysplasia, you can see that this ball femoral head is moving away from the socket joint. And then severe hip dysplasia, you can see that it is just not in place anymore, and it probably is grinding and really uncomfortable. And here, down here, we have an example of the two types of surgeries, depending on how severe the damage is to the femoral head. So here you have a total hip replacement has been implanted into this dog. And then over here, you see an FHNO, which is a femoral head and neck osteectomy. And in this case, what they did, you can see they removed the ball part and a little bit of the neck of the femur here. And this basically takes away that grinding in the joint so that they're not contacting each other anymore. And what happens is the surrounding muscle and the scar tissue work together to become a little bit stronger and make like a false joint. Okay, so back to the corgis. I just want to talk about them a little bit more. The Cardigan, again, is the older one. They have tails. Pembrokes do not have a tail. They also have those pointed ears. Both of these corgis are prone to IVDD, which is intravertebral disc disease, which we will get into in a minute. So the AKC description of the Pembroke Welsh Corgi is that they're 10 to 12 inches in height. They weigh up to 30 pounds, the males, and the females up to 28 pounds, and their life expectancy is about 12 to 13 years. At the shoulder, they are about 27 inches tall, and they usually are pretty short and powerful, muscular little thighs, deep chest, built long and low. They are quick, they are agile, they can be different colors: red, sable fawn, black, tan, with or without white markings. They are bright, sensitive dogs that enjoy playing with humans and families. They respond well to training. They can herd cattle. They're good watchdogs, and they also have like a really intimidating bark for a little dog. They do need a lot of exercises, and they're very loyal and loving pets. Intra or intervertebral disc disease is a condition where the cushioning or cartilage between the discs of the spinal column bulge or herniate into the spinal cord space. This is very painful. It can lead to partial loss of limb function, paralysis, and sometimes loss of feeling in the hind limbs. Some contributing factors are genetics again, breed disposition. Some of the dogs that have this long, straight spine, like the Dachshunds, the Corgis, the Shih Tzus, the Basset Hounds, and the Cocker Spaniels. But it can happen in other breeds as well. Obesity not only makes this worse, but can also make recovery much harder due to the additional weight that's putting a strain on the pet's back. Some symptoms would be not wanting to eat, tight or tense abdomen, crying, yelping, painful signs, shaking, trembling, weak, wobbly back end, or dragging of the hind limbs. To treat this, you have to confine their exercise very strictly. Pain relief meds would be given, muscle relaxers. Acupuncture is actually very effective with IVDD. We would have to manually express their bladder when necessary, and there is also surgical options. In this radiograph, you can see where the disc is bulging into the spinal cord space right here. So treatment, surgical options would basically remove the bone that is cutting into the spinal cord, taking the pressure off of it. And you can see here is a dachshund, that long spinal cord, the way they are shaped. And then we have some dogs here who are doing some therapy with wheelchairs and sling assists to help them to walk again. So prognosis with this can be good, and also depending on the severity of it, obviously. The Australian Shepherd, which is one of the herding group that we touched on before, originated in the Pyrenees Mountains between Spain and France, but was called the Australian Shepherd because of its association with the Basque shepherds who came to the U.S. from Australia in the 1800s. They are eager to please dogs, one of the few breeds that can smile, as I say, by baring their teeth. They're red, black, blue merle, and red merle. The dogs with a merle coat containing coloring can also be deaf and or blind. The ivermectin sensitivity is something that we wanted to talk about with this breed. They have a genetic mutation on a gene that's called the MDR1 gene, which can make them very sensitive to ivermectin. Which is one of the drugs that is in the preventative medication for fleas and ticks. This can be severe, life-threatening, the ivermectin toxicity. If they do have that mutation on that gene, there is a test available that can screen them for that as well. Some other dogs that are prone to the MDR1 gene mutation are border collies, English sheepdogs, and others. According to the AKC, the Australian Shepherd is 20 to 23 inches in height. The males and the females are 18 to 21 inches in height, usually weigh between 50 and 65 pounds, the males, and 40 to 55 for the females. Their life expectancy is about 12 to 15 years. They do have a history with the cowboys, as I mentioned before. The cowboys are herding dog of choice. They're medium sized. They have this like penetrating gaze, different colored coats again to choose from, and they just they have that like rugged look. They exhibit irresistible impulse to herd, really anything, birds, dogs, kids, and this strong work drive can make Aussies too much dog for just like a pet owner that stays in the house. So they do need a lot of exercise. They're very smart, um, and they're a good pet. So that, in summary, again, I just make sure that you remember that this breed and some others are susceptible to that MDR1 gene mutation. Here is a more pictures of the Shetland sheepdog, which we touched on before, the smaller working miniature collie. They come in 6 colors: sable, white, tricolor, blue merle is one of them. They're very successful obedience breeds when competing, usually about 13 to 16 inches in height, weighing about 15 to 25 pounds, with a life expectancy of 12 to 14 years. They are small, active, and agile herding dogs, standing between 13 inches at the shoulder. The long coat is harsh and straight with a dense undercoat. Um, and they have what's called a long wedge-shaped head, three-quarter erect ears, deep-chested, level back torso. Um, Again, so they look a lot like collies. They're bright, eager, again, very agile, good family dogs, sensitive, kind of reserved towards strangers, which makes them a good watchdog. Here's a little bit more about the border collie. They're featured in the movie Babe. They come in 17 different colors. Two different types of coats, being medium length rough coat and shorter smooth coat. Some of the colors are brindle, lilac, black and white, sable. There's red colors. They are usually 19 to 22 inches in height for the males and 18 to 21 inches in height for the females, weighing about 30 to 55 pounds. Life expectancy about 12 to 15 years. They are athletic, medium-sized herders, about 22 inches at the shoulder, very muscular and nimble. Both the coats come in a variety of colors and patterns. They have almond-shaped eyes with an intelligent expression. Again, they're known for their intelligence. They have what's the famous herding eye. They are among the canine kingdom's most agile, balanced, and durable breeds. Again, well known for their intelligence, athleticism, trainability, and they also have they like performing, basically. And they also can be amiable among friends, but maybe reserved with strangers. And just a little bit more about the collies. They originated in Scotland and England. There are two varieties of coat. Again, the rough coated and the smooth coated. They may be prone to something called progressive retinal atrophy, which is characterized by the bilateral degeneration of the retina, causing vision loss, which may result in blindness. And this may also be called collie eye anomaly. There are 10 coat colors. As you know, Lassie is the most famous collie, if not dog, of all times. They're pretty tall. They're 24 to 26 inches, the males, 22 to 24 inches, the females, weighing about 60 to 75 pounds for the male, 50 to 65 pounds for the female. Of about 12 to 14 years. They are large, but they are good herders that they boast one of the most impressively showy coats. So they have very pretty fur, charming dogs, and some of the colors they come in are sable, white, tricolor, blue merle, or white. And they do also have that wedge-shaped head that we talked about before, and almond-shaped eyes. And they are especially good with children and make good pets. They thrive on companionship. They need lots of exercises because they're very active dogs. They're loyal, intelligent, and have very good character. And some other herding breeds, just a few more examples. We mentioned the Belgian Malinois before, but there's the Puli, the Briard, the Boucheron, the Canaan dog, and the Finnish Lapland. So secondly, we have the hound group, which basic thing that they have in common is they were used for hunting as opposed to herding. Some use acute scenting powers to follow a trail. Others demonstrate a phenomenal gift of stamina as they relentlessly run down quarry. Beyond this, however, generalizations about hounds are hard to come by since the group encompasses quite a diverse lot. There are pharaoh hounds, Norwegian elk hounds, Afghans, beagles, among others. Some hounds share the distinct ability to produce a unique sound known as a baying. Best sample this sound before you decide to get a hound of your own to be sure that it is your cup of tea. So we have some of these examples below: bloodhound, beagle, we get the blue tick coonhound, dachshund, greyhound, Irish wolfhound, to name some of the more common ones. The Rhodesian Ridgeback, Saluki, and the Whippet. So some examples from the hound group include the Afghan hound, which is a very old breed. In fact, some authorities maintain that the Afghan hound is the oldest breed of purebred dogs. An ancient myth says that a race of Afghan hounds represented the canine species on Noah's Ark. Among the most important dogs of the early years in America were a breeding pair imported from England by Zeppo Marx, the youngest of the wacky Marx brothers. Since then, the Afghan's fame in America has been built on its sterling qualities as a pet and their show-stopping presence in the ring. There is a giant sculpture by Pablo Picasso in Chicago's Daley Plaza, which depicts Kabul, the artist's much-loved Afghan hound. Next, we have the American English Coonhound, which is said to be descended from the English foxhounds brought to America in the early 1800s. Fox hunting was always a popular pastime in Great Britain's southern colonies. In America since the late 1600s. George Washington maintained an avid interest in English-style horse and hound fox hunts. Next, we have the Basset Hounds, which were originally bred in France and Belgium. Basset is actually the French word for low, since they are low to the ground. It is thought that the friars of the Abbey of St. Hubert were responsible for crossing strains of older French breeds to create a low-built scenting hound that could plod over rough terrain while followed on foot by a human hunting partner, tracking rabbit and deer. Next, we have the Beagle, which is an ancient breed, and it's been a subject of conjecture for centuries where their actual origins are from. Even the breed name is shrouded in mystery. Some experts say it is derived from the Gaelic word beag, meaning little, while others point to the French term for the sound the hounds make while hunting, bigule. The bloodhounds were bred by monks who took the breeding program very seriously, so seriously that they named them blooded hounds, meaning of aristocratic blood. During the centuries since, the noble bloodhound has earned a reputation as a man-trailer without equal. Police departments around the world have relied on this muscular, single-minded hounds to follow the scent of humans, maybe a criminal, a lost child, or a confused senior. An assignment might last all day or all night over hills or through swamps, but bloodhounds will not give up until they follow a trail to the end. Even in the days of high technology, no scenting device has yet invented is as accurate as the bloodhound's nose. Next, we have the Borzoi. During the centuries of Romanov rule in Russia, wolf hunting was an all-consuming passion of the Russian aristocracy. Nobles would stage ritualized hunts or festivals really on their vast estates with guests, horses, and hounds for special hunts. It wasn't unusual for 100 of these Borzoi dogs, as just as many servants, to be employed in these hunts, which usually ended in a great feast at the manor. Some other examples from the hound group include the Dachshund. Dachshund is a German word meaning badger dog, and the breed's German history goes back some 600 years. As the breed name suggests, the Dachshund was developed to dig his way into a badger den and dispatch its occupant. The Dachshund's long, low body was custom made for this exact task. The Greyhound, which goes back all the way to prehistoric art, where dogs were depicted like in chases. The Greyhound story begins about 5,000 years ago in Egypt. The hounds of the pharaohs were designed to detect, chase, capture, and dispatch the fleet-footed wildlife of Egypt's deserts. To the pharaoh's subjects, the godlike beauty of these haughty hounds was an extension of their ruler's divine majesty. And even after, from the Macedonia of Alexander the Great to the Moscow of the Tsars, nobles looked a bit nobler with an elegant hound by their side. The Irish Wolfhound, which is next, was around during the Roman Empire, when they had gained a toehold in the British Islands. The giant hounds of Ireland were already long established. In the year 391, the Roman consul received a gift of 7 of these Irish wolfhounds, which all Rome viewed with wonder. These majestic hunters, whose motto was gentle when stroked, fierce when provoked, were used on such quarry as the now extinct Irish elk, a massive, ferocious beast said to stand 6 feet at the shoulder. And these are massive dogs as well, so they can handle that type of prey. The Rhodesian Ridgeback is next. In the late 19th century, the Rhodesian was a big game hunter for a hunter named Cornelius Van Ruin, and incorporated 2 ridged greyhound-like females into a pack of lion dogs. This is how the Rhodesian Ridgeback got their name for hunting lions. He found that their ridged offspring excelled at confronting and confounding the king of beasts, giving the hunter time to sight in his rifle and dispatch his prey. These ridge dogs were also successful at fending off other dangerous animals such as leopards, baboons, and trotted effortlessly alongside horse-mounted riders all day, breaking off course to follow quick-footed game such as antelope to provide meat for the family and protected the homestead from all intruders. The Saluki is next. The Saluki is among one of the oldest dog breeds. Experts tell us that the Salukis might go back as far as 7000 BC. Like other sighthounds, Salukis were special favorites of kings, Egyptian pharaohs, Alexander the Great, and on through history. The breed today is actually remarkably similar in shape and personality to its ancient ancestors. We can still see the same sleek lines and natural dignity that thrilled the royal families of the Middle East, Egypt, and Asia, even before the pyramids were built. The Whippet is the last one on this slide. The Whippet story begins in Victorian England. North Country coal miners enjoyed the sports of dog racing and rabbit hunting, but they couldn't afford to feed and kennel large athletes like the greyhounds, nor did they have the space to properly exercise them. The miners' practical solution was to breed a smaller version of the greyhound. Though it is uncertain which breeds were utilized to create the Whippet, the miners plainly did their work well. Their handiwork, the Whippet, is the fastest breed of its size, reaching speeds up to 35 miles per hour. Just touching on the Basset Hound again, this is a pretty common breed. They are foremost used in the U.S. for hunting rabbits. They're not very active dogs. They can be prone to obesity, and elbow dysplasia, patellar luxation, hip dysplasia, which we talked about before, which is the malformation of the hip joint. And this can also lead to severe arthritis, depending on the severity. They are very hard to hit their reins. They have long backs, short legs, long droopy ears. They can come in different colors, black and white. According to the AKC, they reach heights up to 15 inches and weights of 40 to 65 pounds with a life expectancy of 12 to 13 years. The Basset Hound may stand no taller than 14 inches at the shoulder, but with its remarkably heavy bone and powerful little legs and massive paws, they do have big dog strength and stamina. Bassets are famous for that large domed head that features extremely long velvety ears, mournful eyes, and a wrinkled brow, which gives the breed the look of a sad clown. Built more for endurance than speed, the Basset moves in a deliberate but effortless manner. The breed's scenting ability is uncanny. It's said that the dogs among only the Bloodhound's nose is more accurate, which we just discussed before. Mild and agreeable at home, the Basset is stubborn on the trail, barks in a loud, ringing voice. Although they may not be wildly demonstrative in their affections, they are definitely steadfastly loyal dogs. And a little bit more about the Irish Wolfhound. They are the tallest of all dogs. They've always been coveted for their hunting prowess, in particularly pursuit of the wolf and the gigantic Irish elk. They are not suitable as a guard dog, even though they have an intimidating size. They're not very aggressive dogs. Their height can be up to 32 inches for the male, 30 inches for the female, weight of 120 pounds for the male, 105 pounds for the female. And they unfortunately have a shorter life expectancy of 6 to 8 years. The Irish Wolfhound is an immense muscular hound, gracefully built along classic greyhound lines, capable of great speed at a gallop. Male might stand nearly 3 feet at the shoulder and weigh up to 180 pounds. Females will run smaller, but still a whole lot of dog. The rough, hard coat comes in many colors, including white, gray, brindle, red, black, and fawn. These wolfhounds are, again, too serene to be fierce guard dogs, but they are definitely intimidating to look at. They are large animals. They are characteristically patient with kids, although animals their size should most likely be supervised around children. Owning an Irish Wolfhound is a unique, rewarding experience, but acquiring a giant galloping hound is a commitment as big as the dog itself to keep them exercised. So I do want to talk about the gastric dilation volvulus, which we mentioned before is more common, or bloat is another name for this, is more common in those deep-chested dogs like the German Shepherd and bigger dogs like the Irish Wolfhound. So what is bloat? It is basically when the stomach twists on itself, affecting blood flow and forcing air to build up in the stomach. This is a dangerous and emergency situation. It is, like I said, it's definitely more common in large breed, deep-chested dogs. They are more at risk than the smaller breeds. The mortality rate of this is 50%, even with emergency intervention. A third of the afflicted dogs will die from this. Symptoms that you'll see are enlarged abdomen, retching, salivation, restlessness. The treatment for this is stabilization, decompression, correction of electrolytes, and surgery. A bit more about the bloodhound. They are also a barrel-chested dog that is prone to bloat or GDV. Again, they're bred for hunting deer, wild boar. They will follow that scent for miles. And again, their scent capability is unmatched, even by technology. Their height is usually 25 to 27 inches for the males, 23 to 25 inches for females. Weight 90 to 110 pounds for male, 80 to 100 pounds for female. Again, I won't ask you any of these numbers as far as height and weight on the test. Things that you'll need to know as a tech are, what are these breeds predisposed to? What is a disease process that might possibly affect them due to their anatomy or genetics? The bloodhound's life expectancy is 10 to 12 years. They are large dogs, standing 23 to 27 inches at the shoulder, weighing up to 110 pounds. Their most famous feature is that long, wrinkled face with loose skin, huge drooping ears, and they have warm, deep-set eyes that complete an expression of solemn dignity. The coat colors can be black and tan, liver and tan, or red. They have powerful legs that allow them to scent over those miles that they are searching for a scent. As pack dogs, bloodhounds enjoy company, including other dogs and kids. They're easygoing, but their nose can sometimes get them into trouble. A strong leash and long walks in places where they can enjoy sniffing around is recommended for this breed. They are droolers, and obedience training these sensitive sleuths can be a bit of a challenge. A little bit more about the Greyhound. It is one of the most ancient breeds. They can be traced back to almost every country on every continent on the globe. They are the fastest breed of dog. They can reach speeds up to 43 miles per hour. The two Greyhounds on the top right, Greyhound puppies, Our bottom right are Italian Greyhounds. Because they are athletes, they are subject to sport injuries such as pulled muscles, broken toes, split pads, and their skin is prone to tears and lacerations. Their long tails can split or break from impact. Italian Greyhounds are the smaller version of the Greyhound. The AKC describes greyhounds as standing in 28 to 30 inches in height for the males, 27 to 28 inches for the female, weighing about 65 to 70 pounds for the male and 60 to 65 pounds for the female. Their life expectancy is 10 to 13 years. Greyhounds have been described as the essence of the dog breeder's credo, as form follows function. So from the narrow aerodynamic skull to the shock-absorbing pads of the feet, greyhounds are perfectly constructed for high-speed pursuit. The lean beauty of the greyhound, the inverted S shape created by the deep chest curving gently into a tightly tucked waist, has been an object of fascination for artists, poets, and kings for as long as human beings have called themselves civilized. Greyhounds are the template from which other coursing hounds have been struck. Okay, a little bit more about the Whippet. The Whippet can reach up to 35 miles an hour. It was originally bred to pursue and capture small game. They're quiet, intelligent, and don't bark much unnecessarily. They can be easily confused with the Italian Greyhound. The Whippets are a little bigger, up to 22 inches in height, as much as 45 pounds, and Italian Greyhounds are much smaller, at 12 to 15 inches and up to 10 pounds. The AKC describes them as 19 to 22 inches in height for the male and 18 to 21 inches for the female. The weight, 25 to 40 pounds, life expectancy of 12 to 15 years. At somewhere between 18 and 22 inches at the shoulder, the Whippet looks like a greyhound, but it is smaller, and it exhibits the classic inverted S lines of the sighthound, the shape of the deep chest and the trim waist, lean head supported by a long arched neck, and slim but sturdy legs combine to make it very agile and fast. Between bursts of intense pursuit, Whippets love to stretch out and relax for long hours and are a loved companion. They do need a fenced yard to run in, but they also do well in cozy little apartments as long as they are exercised properly. Another plus for city dwellers who would like a Whippet. Whippets, again, rarely bark, and they are robust and low maintenance. A little bit more about the dachshund. Again, you don't have to remember these numbers and weights and stuff, but you will have to identify these breeds by picture and know if they're predisposed to anything that we discussed. So the dachshund was developed in Germany more than 300 years ago. Hunt badgers. Their name means Dosh actually means badger, and Hund means dog in German. Uh, the lively breed, friendly personality, very good sense of smell, playful, stubborn. Come in three coat varieties: smooth, wire-haired, or long-haired, and in two sizes: standard and miniature. They, again, are bred for hunting badgers, rabbits, and other burrowing animals. They can become overweight easily. With obesity comes diabetes, obviously, joint problems, and IVDD, which we discussed they are prone to. The AKC describes them as 8 to 9 inches standard and 5 to 6 inches for the miniatures. Weighed about 16 to 32 pounds for the standard dachshund and 11 pounds and under for the mini. Life expectancy is usually about 12 to 16 years. They are kind of an icon with this unmistakable long back body, little legs, and big personality. Definitely a well-known breed. Um, they can be 16 to 32 pounds. They are built for distance, running, leaping, and strenuous swimming. But otherwise, they are game for pretty much anything. They are smart. They have a big bark for a little dog, and they are good watchdogs. And just a little bit more about the beagle. We have a little baby here. The scent hounds, they're used primarily for hunting rabbits to larger hares. They're bred to hunt in packs, so they enjoy the company of other dogs and people. They have a very distinguishable howl. If you ever heard one, you know that. And they do have a tendency to be used as laboratory dogs. The Basenji. Developed in Africa for hunting, capable of howling and growling but unable to bark due to an unusual shaped larynx. They have a unique yodel called a baru. They come into estrus once annually versus other breeding dogs who have 2 or more breeding seasons a year. Primary health concerns in this breed is something called Fanconi syndrome, also known as kidney dystrophy, which is degeneration of the tissue of the kidney due to disease or malnutrition and progressive retinal atrophy. And they're also prone to hip dysplasia. The AKC describes them as 17 inches in height for the male, 16 in height for the female, weighing about 24 pounds for the male, 22 for the female, with a life expectancy of 13 to 14 years. The Senjus are small, they're graceful, standing at 16 or 17 inches at the shoulder. They are recognizable by their glistening short coat, tightly curled tail. They have a slightly wrinkled forehead and expressive almond-shaped eyes that convey a variety of subtle, human-like emotions. They are lovely sight at a standstill, but more impressive yet, they have this fast trot when they exhibit the long, smooth strides of a mini racehorse. And yes, it's true, they don't bark, but they make their feelings known with an odd sound, the baru, which is something like between a chortle and a yodel, it is described as. They do groom themselves like cats. It has been called a cult breed, small in numbers, but those lucky enough to own one do so with devotion. And a couple other hound breeds that we didn't discuss yet. The black and tan coonhound is one in the upper right there. Typical Yankee ingenuity. The frontiersmen crossed European hounds, foxhounds, and bloodhounds were surely in the mix to create a unique American breed, the coonhound. These hounds trail raccoon scent through moonlit woods and swamps until they tree their quarry, bawling along the way in a clear musical voice to mark their location to rifle-toting hunters. The otter hound in medieval England was obviously a huge otter population preyed on fish in rivers and stocked ponds, and to protect this valuable food source, packs of otter hounds were kept by country squires and even kings. In the upper right-hand corner, we have the Iberian hound. Ibiza is one of the Balearic Islands off Spain's Mediterranean coast. About 3,000 years ago, Phoenician traders first brought Egyptian hounds to the rocky island. Islanders used packs of these hounds as rabbit hunters. Food was scarce on rugged Ibiza. For hounds and hunter, chasing rabbits wasn't sport. It was more likely a matter of eating or going hungry. Survival, basically. And then we have the blue tick hound on the bottom left there. These were used by frontiersmen in pursuit of the raccoon, but were often expected to work as packs in big game hunter on dangerous quarries such as bear, wild boar, lynx, and cougars. In the early 20th century, Fred Gibson, the author of Old Yeller, wrote about a line of famous blue ticks. And he said, in this breeding, they've got a big bell-voiced hound with a nose that can pick up a week-old trail, the endurance to run that trail 30 hours at a stretch, and the lusty courage that'll make him tackle anything that won't take a tree before he catches him. And the pharaoh hound, which is the bottom right, it is assumed that Phoenicians disseminated Egyptian hounds throughout the ancient world as far west as Britain. The prevailing theory suggests that the Phoenicians introduced the pharaoh hound to Malta, where they use it as rabbit hunters. In 1979, the pharaoh was named the national hound of Malta. Okay, so we're on to the sporting group. The sporting group are naturally active, alert. Sporting dogs make likable, well-rounded companions. Members of the group include the likes of pointers, retrievers, setters, spaniels. They have great instincts in water and woods. Many of these breeds actively continue to participate in hunting as well and other field activities. Potential owners of sporting dogs need to realize they mostly require regular, invigorating exercise. Okay, so some of the sporting dogs include the Brittany. The Brittany is the westernmost region of France, surrounded by the English Channel to the north, Bay of Biscay to the south. It was here, hundreds of years ago, that French hunters developed what is today considered one of the world's most versatile bird dogs, capable of working on duck, woodcock, pheasant, partridge, And the Brittany first comes into historical focus in paintings and tapestries of the 17th century. Then we have the Chesapeake Bay Retriever, otherwise known as the Chessie. Wealthy owners of duck clubs that lined both the shores of the Chesapeake Bay during the 19th century set the basic breed type for the Chessie. Newfoundlands, Irish Water Spaniels, and hounds of undetermined origin were among the dogs thought to be in the genetic mix that made the Chessie. We have the Cocker Spaniel. For centuries, European and British Spaniels were informally grouped as simply land spaniels and water spaniels. By the 19th century, however, when written breed standards, dog shows, field trials, and the very notion of purebred dogs began to gain traction in England, the various spaniels were classified as specific breeds. Among them was the Cocker, so called because they specialize in woodcock. These dogs, smaller than the English Springer Spaniels but larger than the English Toy Spaniels, were the ancestors of the modern Cocker Spaniel. Lower left, we have the English Setter, which history goes back some 400 years. They were originally bred on estates of English country gentlemen who crossed Old Spaniel and Pointer breeds to create hunting dogs who would sit quietly or set when they located the game birds. The breed's popularity grew in Britain and later in America as the development of reliable hunting rifles gave rise to breeds known as gun dogs. Next, we have the English Springer Spaniel. England's Springer type Spaniel first emerged centuries ago to work on upland game birds. Before the invention of the wheel lock firearm in the 17th century, Springing Spaniels worked in tandem with hunters who brought down their quarry with nets, falcons, or bows, some combination of these. After the hunting rifle revolutionized the sport, Springers quickly earned a reputation as eager and reliable gun dogs. Last, on the right there, we have the German short-haired pointer. German hunters spent generations crossing various breeds until they perfected this versatile bird dog in the 1800s. They were so successful that to this day, GSPs are among the top winning breeds in competitive hunting events. Some other sporting breeds, the Golden Retriever. The most important name in the early history of the Golden Retriever is Dudley Majorbanks, the first Lord Tweedmouth, who developed the breed in Scottish Highlands during the reign of Victoria. For the 50 years between 1840 and 1890, Tweedmouth kept scrupulous records of breeding affected to create an ideal gun dog for his use at Gwashawn Estate in the Highlands, Inverness Shire, Scotland. Tweedmouth wanted a dog suited to the rainy climate and rugged terrain of the area, so he crossed his yellow retriever with a breed that is now extinct, the Tweed Water Spaniel. Irish Setter and Bloodhounds were also thought to be added to the mix. Through several generations of clever breeding, an admiring historian wrote, Tweedmouth created a consistent line of exceptional working retrievers. Next, we have the Labrador Retriever, which is a traditional water dog of Newfoundland. Long employed as the duck retriever and fisherman's mate, the breed began its steady climb to popularity in the early 1800s when labs were spotted by English nobles visiting Canada. These sporting earls and lords returned to England with fine specimens of Labrador dogs. The Nova Scotia duck tolling retriever, also known as the decoy dog, is a small, energetic retriever bred by 19th century sportsmen in the Little River district of Nova Scotia's Yarmouth County. The Yarmouth Toller and Little River Duck Dog were once alternate breed names. Tollers were created to employ an ingenious hunting method. They imitate the curious activity of foxes, whose color and quick movements exert a strange fascination over waterfowl. The sight of the toller playing fetch along the shoreline arouses the curiosity of the ducks offshore. Then we have the English Pointer. Breed's name is also its job. Pointers point, and they've been pointing for centuries. In the days before rifles, British pointing dogs hunted hares in tandem with hounds. Pointers would find and indicate the prey, and hounds gave chase. In the 1700s, with the rise of wing shooting, the pointer became a devoted and durable gun dog. In pointing and retrieving game birds, pointers have a few peers, and their fans say no dog does it better. The Vizsla, supremacy of the Magyar cavalry, was predicated on three qualities: speed, agility, and toughness. Accordingly, the Magyar warriors carefully bred these qualities into their horses and their dogs. In this lightning fast kingdom on horseback, it was either keep up or perish. These nimble red dogs are ancestors of the modern Vizsla. And then lastly, we have the Weimaraner, developed in the early 1800s. The Weimaraner is a veritable puppy among dog breeds. The key figure of the Weimaraner's early history was Germany's Grand Duke Karl August, who held court in the town of Weimar. The Duke, like so many European nobles of his age, was an avid sportsman. His dream was to develop the perfect hunting dog. In pursuit of this ambition, he is said to have crossed bloodhounds with various German and French hunting dogs. The result was the Weimar Pointer or the Weimaraner. Let's talk a little bit more about the labs. Again, they're from Newfoundland. They come in few different colors: black, yellow, and chocolate. They are great guide dogs for the blind. They're part of search and rescue teams or narcotics detection with law enforcement. They are one of the most popular dog breeds for 24 years now. They're a retrieving gun dog. They can withstand difficult conditions for long hours to hunt waterfowl. The AKC describes them as 22 to 24 inches in height for the male, 21 to 23 for the female, weighing about 65 to 80 pounds for the males and 55 to 70 pounds for the female, with a life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. They are well balanced, depending on the sex, stand from 25 to 24 inches at the shoulders, dense, hard coat, wide eyes that glimmer with a kindliness, and the thick tapering otter tail seems to be forever signaling the breed's innate eagerness. They are famously friendly. They are great housemates who bond with the whole family. They socialize well with other dogs and humans. But they are not low energy. The lab is an enthusiastic athlete, requires lots of exercise. They like to swim, they like to fetch, and they need to be kept physically and mentally fit. The Golden, again coming from Scotland, bred as gun dogs to retrieve waterfowl and game. They familiar faces from lots of media like Air Bud, the movie, and there was a dog in Full House. They are intelligent. They're easy to train. They're also used as guide dogs and search and rescue dogs. Fortunately, they are prone to cancer, hypothyroidism, seizures, skin issues, and also hip dysplasia. They are also prone to lymphoma. The male is 23 to 24 inches in height, female 21 to 22. Males weigh about 65 to 75 pounds, females 55 to 65 pounds, with a life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. They are sturdy, muscular, medium-sized dog, famous for their dense, lustrous coat of gold that gives the breed its name. They have a broad head with friendly and intelligent eyes, short ears, straight muzzle, is all hallmarks of the breed. In motion, they move with a smooth, powerful gait, and the feathery tail is carried, as breed fanciers say, with a merry action. They are outgoing, trustworthy, eager to please family dogs, and they also love to play, and they maintain their puppyish behavior into adulthood. These energetic, powerful dogs enjoy outdoors, and they also love to swim and fetch. The Cocker Spaniel, known as the smallest member of the sporting dog family, prone to ear infections and skin infections. They were bred to flush game out, originating in the U.S., crossing from England on the Mayflower in 1620. They can be 14 to 15 inches in height for the male, 13 to 14 for the female, 25 to 35 pounds for the male, 20 to 25 pounds for the female, with a life expectancy of 10 to 14 years. They have big dark eyes, a very sweet expression, long lush ears. No wonder the Cocker Spaniel's America's most popular breed. The Cocker is the AKC's smallest sporting spaniel, standing about 14 to 15. Coat comes in enough colors and patterns to please anyone. They are well balanced, sturdy, solid, uh, durable gun dogs, and have a smooth, easy gait. They are good playmates for kids. They're easily trained, big enough to be sporty, but small enough to be portable. Cocker in full coat rewards extra grooming because of that long hair, but they were also one of the prettiest dogs. These energetic sporting dogs love playtime and brisk walks. The English Springer, Makes a good family pet, needs lots and lots of exercise, or will invent its own way of keeping busy. They come in two acceptable colors for the breed standard, which is black and white or liver and white. They have been known to have something called rage syndrome, which has been identified in the show line of Springers. Springers uh, do like to bounce when they are running. The males are about 20 inches in height, females 19, males 50 pounds, females 40 pounds, life expectancy 12 to 14 years. They're built for long days in the field. They're tough, muscular hunters, and the double coat comes in several colors and patterns. Ears are long and lush, and they do have a kind, trusting expression in the eyes. Springers move with a smooth ground covering stride. Bred to work closely with humans, Springers are highly trainable, people pleasers. They crave company and they are miserable when they are neglected. Polite dogs, they are good with kids and other mammals. They are eager to join in the family activity, love long walks, chasing, fetching, swimming, are all pastimes of the English Springer. The American Water Spaniel was the official state dog of Wisconsin. They're dual purpose dog, bred for companionship and also top notch retrieval ability. They're excellent swimmers. They are gun dogs. They can retrieve prey from boats. They crave companionship and would do best for a household where someone is home during the day. The males are about 15 to 18 inches in height, weighing about 30 to 45 pounds. Females are 25 to 40 pounds. Life expectancy of 10 to 14 years. The Water Spaniels are muscular mid-sized gun dogs, not flashy, but they do have a luscious brown coat, which can be either tightly curled or wavy. They are bred to work in icy waters and the marshy banks of the Great Lakes region. These spaniels are ideally outfitted for the job. The coat is dense and waterproof, the feet are thickly padded, the toes are webbed, and the body is small enough for the dog to hop in and out of a skiff without rocking a boat. The breed admirers describe them as merry, intelligent, versatile spaniels suited for a variety of dog sports. As hunters, they combine the working traits of spaniels and retrievers. The key to American Water Spaniel happiness is activity, especially alongside their human. An underemployed dog can be barky and destructive. The Clumber Spaniel, originated in England, is one of the original 9 breeds recognized by the AKC. Susceptible to entropion and ectropion eye conditions, meaning the eyelid can either fold in or out. Um, they respond well to positive reinforcement. They're about 18 to 20 inches in height for the male, 17 and 19 for the female, weighing about 70 to 85 pounds for the male and 55 to 70 for the female. Life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. They're powerful bird dogs, heavy bone, built long and low, with a massive head. They stand 70 to 20 inches at the shoulder. Built to push through thick cover in a field, their movement is nonetheless free and easy. The dense coat is primarily white with sparse lemon or orange markings. They are sweet, easygoing, but they are definitely outdoorsy dogs, and they are relentless on scent. They are smart, eager to please, and respond well to training. They're a bit weird around strangers, but they're friendly dogs who only bark when they have something to say, and they are great watchdogs. They love swimming, fetching, and are also good childhood playmates. And then just a few more things about the English Pointer. Again, they were bred to chase rabbits and birds. They're athletic, alert, even-tempered, affectionate, and loyal. There's 3 types of pointers: the German short-haired, the German wire-haired, and the English. They are the ultimate expression of canine power and grace, unquestioned aristocrats of the sporting world. Pointers carry themselves proud and they are capable of great speed and agility. Coat comes in several colors, solid or in patterns, but as the breed devotees like to say, a good pointer can't be a bad color. A larger male will stand 28 inches at the shoulder and weigh up to 75 pounds. Small female can be as little as 45 pounds and stand 23 inches. Expectancy 10 to 12 years. The coat is usually solid liver or reddish brown, liver and white in distinct patterns, dark eyes with enthusiasm and friendliness. They're built for long days. The GSPs are known for power, speed, agility, and endurance. Noble, aristocratic are words often used to describe them. The GSPs, or the German short-haired pointers, make happy, trainable pets who bond firmly to their family. They're always up for running, swimming, anything that will burn some of that boundless energy that they have. For setters, there are Irish and Gordon setters. The Irish setter is a hunting breed which originated in Ireland. Requires stimulation to prevent destructive behaviors and make great family pets. They're between 25 and 27 inches, weighing between 60 and 70 pounds with an expectancy of 12 to 15 years. The Irish setter is a level personality and deer, bred to sportsmen and pet owners for more than 200 years. They're outgoing dogs, rambunctious, big, kids at heart, eager to please, will respond to patient, positive training. They are said to be bold and rugged hunting partners with a devil-may-care approach to their work. The Gordon Center, a setter, which is known for its devotion and loyalty, first started to hunt birds almost 200 years ago, always black and tan, the Gordon setter, whereas the Irish setters are usually the red ones. These ones stand between 23 and 27 inches, weighing between 45 to 80 pounds, and life expectancy of 12 to 13 years. They have a very stunning coat, long hair on the ears, bellies, legs, chest, and tail. The tan spots above the brown eyes point up to a wise and willing expression. Like other Scott breeds, from the compact Scottish Terrier to the majestic Scottish Deerhound, Gordons were built to withstand their homeland's tough terrain and foul weather. Some other sporting breeds include the wire-haired pointing Griffon, which in the 1800s, sportsmen of continental Europe were obsessed with breeding hunting dogs of great versatility. Among them was the Dutchman Edward Corthels, son of a well-to-do banker. And through many crosses of several breeds, he developed a dog that could work as a pointer on dry land and an excellent water retriever, complete with webbed toes for swimming. Corthels refined his breed while working in Germany and finally France. Since Corthel, partisans have argued whether Griffs are properly a Dutch or a French breed. The Brittany Spaniel we talked about before. The Sussex Spaniel, sometime in the 1700s, sportsmen in the English country of Sussex developed this spaniel, whose short legs and burly torso were perfectly suited for hunting feathered game, while also plowing through the region's heavy clay soil, dense underbrush, and thick hedgerows. Because the dog was built so low and the cover was high, Sussex developed a language of barks and babbling to mark their location to human huntsmen. And to this day, the Sussex Spaniel tend to be more vocal than other Spaniels. And then lastly, we have the Spinone or Spinoni, a very old breed, are among the mini field dogs of continental Europe, famed for versatility. Their strength as hunters' companions include intelligence, a great nose, the ability to retrieve on land or lake, and the stamina to work all day and eagerly ask for more. The name Spinone refers to Pino, the thorny undergrowth found in Italy's Piedmont region. It was there that all-weather, all-purpose Spinoni were first bred to work alongside human huntsmen on the hilly terrain of Alpine Italy. A little bit more about the Vizsla. The Vizsla is easily recognized by its sleek golden rust coat. They have long silky ears, which frame a facial expression that is sensitive and loving around the house, and they are intense when at work. As a hunter, they expected to work closely with humans. The Vizslas form a tight bond with their owners and hate to be left alone. Some refer to them as Velcro dogs. Athletes with many talents, they excel at various sports and activities. They are eager, graceful trotters, great stamina, make them good dogs to have as a jogging or biking partner. Expert on the breed tells us, if you haven't had the time to encourage this breed's full use of its brain, you're wasting a good dog. Let's see. They can stand. Oh, no, let's talk about the Weimaraner a little bit. The Weimaraner, they can stand anywhere from 23 to 27 inches. They are solid colored with maybe a small spot on their chest. The face, with its amber or blue-grayed eyes, framed by long velvety ears, is amiable and intelligent. Overall, the breed presents a picture of streamlined grace and balance. A well-conditioned Weimaraner on a point is a breathtaking sight. They are excellent with kids. They love to be full-fledged family members. Easy groom, easy to groom, trainability, loving nature. They have a can-do attitude that makes them excellent pets. As long as owners are committed to keeping them physically active and mentally engaged. And they have a life expectancy of 10 to 13 years. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the non-sporting group. They are a diverse group, sturdy animals with as many different personalities and appearances, from the Chow Chow to the Dalmatian, the Frenchies, and the Keeshond. Talk about differences in size, coat, and visage. Some, like the Schipperke and the Tibetan Spaniel, are uncommon sights on average. Others, however, like the Poodle and Lhasa Apso, are pretty common. The breeds in the non-sporting group are varied collection, again, in terms of pretty much everything. First, we have the Bichon Frise, which is thought to be one of the most ancient breeds that began their modern development on Tenerife, the largest of the Canary Islands. One of these breeds became so popular with its island sailors that it was known as the Bichon Tenerife, the primary ancestor of today's Bichon Frise. The breed's close association with European nobles began in the 13th century. Most notably, they endeared themselves to royal courts of Spain, Italy, and France, and came into their own during the Renaissance. With the advent of the French Revolution in 1789, the Bichon days as the pampered and perfumed lapdog of aristocrats came to a rude end. One by one, the breed's benefactors were trotted off to prison and the guillotine, and the Bichons lost their positions of privilege. Many were turned to the street, which they were taken by street entertainers because they were bright, agile dogs, and they trained them to coax a coin or two out of people. And then soon the Bichon became known as a circus performer. The Boston Terrier in Liverpool, sometime in the late 1860s, was a cross between a bulldog and a now extinct breed called the White English Terrier, which resulted in the tough, muscular dog named Judge. The first Boston. Judge's owner sold him to an American named William O'Brien, who bought his new dog to Boston. In 1870, O'Brien sold Judge to a fellow Bostonian, Robert C. Hooper. Judge, from then on known in breed histories as Hooper's Judge, became the patriarch of the Boston Terrier breed and the common ancestor of almost all true Bostons. The Bulldog. Historical evidence suggests that bulldogs were created in the 13th century England during the reign of King John for the sport of bull baiting, in which a staked bull fought a pack of dogs while spectators bet on the outcome. The dogs used in this grisly pastime, the ancestor of today's bulldog, were ferocious brutes with huge jaws, unbelievably brave, and seemingly impervious to pain. Turning point in the bulldog history came in 1835 when England banned these blood sports. They then just went underground, literally, as bull baiting gave way to pit dog fighting in cellars. This illicit activity required quicker, more animated dogs than the plodding bulldog of the early 19th centuries. Gamblers created their fiery four-legged gladiators by crossing various terriers with bulldogs, and in so put forth early prototypes of the bull terrier. The Staffordshire Bull Terrier and other bull-type terrier breeds still popular today. With bull baiting obsolete, the bulldog faced extinction. In response, bulldog admirers began the long process of transforming the breed from brawler to companion. They refined the physical contours to make the dog more attractive, and also tamped down the bulldog's ferociousness, and reconceived the breed as a sweet and mellow pet who is especially fond of children. By 1886, bulldogs were on both sides of their Atlantic and had done their work well enough to be recognized by the AKC. Bulldog has long been a national symbol of England. During World War II, much was made of the similarities between the jowly, tenacious bulldog and the tenacious Prime Minister Winston Churchill. In America, the breed is the mascot of myriad sports teams, including those representing Yale University. Yale's bulldog mascot is Handsome Dan, was said to be the first animal mascot in all sports. Another famous bulldog football mascot is Uga, who enjoys the exploits of University of Georgia Bulldogs from the comfort of an air-conditioned doghouse on the sidelines. The bulldog also serves as the wrinkly face icon of Mack trucks and of the U.S. Marine Corps. The Chinese Shar-Pei, native to China's southern provinces. The Shar-Pei goes back more than 2,000 years to the Han Dynasty. It was believed to have been a peasant's dog, and in the manner of peasant dog in all time and places, the Shar-Pei was expected to be versatile. Chinese farmers used these rugged, intelligent dogs as hunters, herders, and guardians of livestock against predators and rustlers. The Dalmatian, which has a job description unique among AKC breeds, is a coach dog. Their traditional occupation was to trot beside horse-drawn coaches and to guard the horses and rig when otherwise unattended. Dalmatians were alongside the caravans of Romans, commonly known as gypsies, during their ceaseless wanderings around Europe. This association helps explains why the Dalmatian origins are so difficult to pin down as gypsies themselves. British nobles employed Dalmatians as handsome accents. The English had a close affinity with the breed and gave it such nicknames as the English coach dog, Spotted Dick, and the plum pudding dog. The Dalmatian spots resembling the candied fruit and nuts that fleck Britain's traditional holiday dessert. Back in the 1800s, when horses pulled fire engines, Dalmatians began their long association with firefighters. These days, Dalmatians accompany the famous Budweiser Clydesdales on parade. And then the French bulldog in the mid 1800s, a toy-sized bulldog, found favor in some English cities, including Nottingham, then a center for lace making. The toy bulldog became something of a mascot for Nottingham's lace makers. This was the height of the Industrial Revolution in England, and such cottage industries as lace making were threatened. Many in the lace trade had to relocate to northern France, and of course, they brought their toy bulldogs with them. First, we have the Lhasa Apso, which is a 1,000-year-old breed serving in places like the Buddhist monasteries in the Himalayan mountains. They have been associated with the Dalai Lama and were given as gifts by the 14th Dalai Lama, helping to establish the breed in America. In Tibetan folklore, the country's protector is the mythical snow lion, and Lhasas, the bearded lion dogs, are the snow lion's earthly representatives. Lhasa is the name of Tibet's sacred city, Apso, which also means long-haired dog. Next, we have the standard poodle on the right and the miniature poodle as well. Despite the poodle being associated with France, they are actually from Germany, where they were duck hunters. The word poodlin in Germany refers to splashing in water. The standard poodle began its development 400 years ago as a retriever with great swimming ability and very intelligent. The poodle is a magnificent retriever. The standard and miniature varieties are classified as non-sporting and are eligible for AKC retriever and spaniel hunting tests. The standard was bred down to the miniature. The toy was first bred in America in the early 20th century as a city-dwelling companion dog. All varieties are exact replicas of each other and are bred to the same standard. The Shiba Inu was first documented to enter the United States by a military family in 1954, but the Shiba is an ancient breed, having been around since 300 BC. The breed is named after its history as a hunter in the rugged mountains of Japan, where Shiba means brushwood, referring to either brush in the mountains or to the dog's reddish color in Japanese, and Inu means dog. By the end of World War, the Shibas were nearly extinct, but they survived Japan's wartime and are today's the number one companion animal. The popularity has been growing in the United States as well. The Tibetan Terrier is next. A reverence for animals occupies a special place in Eastern belief and legend. In that spirit, Buddhist monks played a lead role in fostering and preserving Tibet's native dog breeds. The monks kept Tibbies mainly as companions, but also as watchdogs who worked in tandem with their bigger cousin, the Tibetan Mastiff. Tibbies were far-seeing sentinels who sat atop the monastery walls and scanned the horizon for friend or foe, and they no doubt made agreeable bed warmers on those sub-zero Himalayan nights. And then on the right, this one's hard to say, but the Xoloitzcuintli, it's pronounced, are from Mexico. They're nicknamed Xolos with a history that goes back at least 3,000 years. mention of these strange hairless dogs appear in the journals of Columbus and other European explorers. Ancient Aztecs named the breed for their dog-headed god Xolotl. Xolos were considered sacred by the Aztecs and often were sacrificed and buried alongside their owners to serve as protective guides into the next world. In modern times, Xolos are dedicated watchdogs and companions. And to detail Dalmatians, a little bit more about them. It's a very popular breed. They're a descendant of carriage dogs in the 1800s, which were bred to guard their masters' carriages and horses. The puppies are actually born without spots and are prone to deafness and uroliths or stones. They are famous for being the firehouse dog, which we talked a little bit about before. They rid on the fire trucks, and they are the only spotted breed and very active. Their height is usually 19 to 24 inches, weight 45 to 70 pounds, with a life expectancy of 11 to 13 years. They have very delightful, eye-catching spots in black or liver color, which can adorn the most distinctive coats. Beneath the spot is a graceful, elegantly proportioned trotting dog, standing between 19 and 23 at the shoulder. They're muscular, built for distance, powerful hindquarters, which can drive their smooth, effortless gait. The Dalmatian was originally bred to guard horses and coaches, and this instinct remains. Reserved and dignified, Dalmatians can be aloof with strangers, but are very good watchdogs. With their preferred humans, they are bright, loyal, and loving house dogs. They are strong, active athletes, great stamina, and they make a good partner for anyone who runs or hikes. Let's talk about the Chow Chow. They have blue-black tongues, which are unique to the breed. They're another old breed. They're more than 2,000 years old. They are known to be independent and stubborn, having a mind of their own, and will become the master if you let it. Known to have some aggression, they are bred for hunting, herding, cat pulling, and guarding. Some landlords will not allow blue-tongued dogs. They are measuring at 17 to 20 inches at height, 45 to 70 pounds, life expectancy of 8 to 12. They're powerful, compactly built, 20 inches at the shoulder. Distinct traits include that lion mane ruff that they have around the head, the blue-black tongue, deep-set almond eyes, the kind of a scowling, snobby expression, and a stiff-legged gait. They have rough or smooth coats in red, black, blue, cinnamon, or cream. And owners say that they are the cleanest of dogs. They housebreak easily, have little odor, and are known to be as fastidious about cleaning as cats. They are well associated, are never fierce or intractable, but always refined and dignified. They are aloof with strangers and eternally loyal to loved ones. Serene and adaptable with no special need exercises. Chows are pretty good as city dogs as well. And who doesn't love a bulldog? They have originated in the British Isles. Again, they're bred for bull baiting, which is now outlawed. Specially trained dogs would set upon the bull one at a time, and a successful attack resulting in the dog fastening his teeth strong into the bull's snout. They are brachiocephalic dogs, that meaning they have that shorter, kind of smushed in skull. And because of that, they are prone to facial dermatitis. They have all these wrinkles that can get easily infected, and breathing problems due to their skull. The cesarean sections are common due to their broad shoulders and narrow pelvis. They can be usually about 14 to 15 inches in height, about 50 pounds for the male, 40 for the female, with a life expectancy of 8 to 10 years. It's pretty hard to mistake this breed for something else with their loose skin. They have the furrowed brow, the pushed-in nose, small ears, undershot jaw, which gives them that kind of underbite, hanging chops on either side, and the distinctive rolling gait all practically scream, "I'm a bulldog." The coat, seen in a variety of colors and patterns, is short, smooth, and glossy. Bulldogs can weigh up to 50 pounds, but that won't stop them from being lap dogs. Don't mistake their easygoing ways for laziness. They enjoy brisk walks. They need a lot of exercise along with a careful diet to stay trim. They are good in afternoons, but they need air conditioned room as that bulldog short snout can cause labored breathing in hot and humid weather. The Frenchie, also known for its wrinkly face and bat-shaped ears, uh, need little exercise and are loyal to their owners. They also have little tolerance to heat and stress, and this also will cause breathing problems again for them because of that brachiocephalic skull. Usually about 11 to 13 inches in height, usually under 20 pounds, with a life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. They resemble a bulldog in many, except for the large, big bat ears, and which are the breed's trademark feature. The head is large and square, usually with heavy wrinkles rolled around the extremely short nose. The body beneath is a smooth, brilliant coat and compact and muscular. They are bright, affectionate, and a charmer. Dogs, a few words. They don't bark much, but their alertness makes them excellent watchdogs. They happily adapt to life with singles, couples, families, and do not require a lot of outdoor exercise. They get on well with other humans as well. They are good in the cities, from Paris to Peoria. Swear by this vastly amusing and companionable breed. Next, we have the Boston Terrier, from a cross between an English Bulldog and a White English Terrier in the middle 1800s. They are prone to several eye conditions, including juvenile cataracts and glaucoma. They may be predisposed to deafness and medial patellar luxation, as well as some breathing difficulties, again due to the skull. The height, 15 to 17 inches, usually about 12 to 25 pounds, life expectancy of 11 to 13 years. They're compact, short tailed, well balanced little dogs weighing no more than 25 pounds. A stylish tuxedo coat, can be white and either black brindle or seal, with a red cast when viewed in the sun or bright light. The head is square again, the muzzle is short, and the large round eyes can shine with kindness, curiosity, or mischief. Ever alert to their surroundings, Bostons move with a jaunty, rhythmic step. It's a safe bet that a breed named for a city, the Havanese or Brussels Griffon, for instance, will make an excellent urban pet. Bostons are no exception. They are sturdy but portable, people oriented, and always up for a brisk walk to the park or outdoor cafe. A bright dog with a natural gift for comedy, the dapper Bostonian is a steady source of smiles. And just another side note about the poodle, the national dog of France, even though it is from Germany, as we discussed. They have superior intelligence with exceptional learning abilities. They are hypoallergenic dogs, but they do require regular grooming. The poodle clip is not merely decorative, though it may seem that way. It is, in fact, a necessary clip meant to protect the joints and vital organs in cold water. So that special haircut that they get. The height is over 15 inches for the standard, 60 to 70 pounds male, 40 to 50 for female, with a life expectancy of 10 to 18 years. The miniatures are 10 to 15 inches in height, and about 10 to 15 pounds, a life expectancy of 10 to 18 years. And then the toys are no more than 10 inches in height, weighing 4 to 6 pounds, with a life expectancy of 10 to 18. Because they come in three varieties, again, we discussed that they are all exactly replicas and judged by the same standards. Most owners prefer that sporting clip in which the coat is shorn to follow the outline of the squarely built muscular body. Again, that same cut that they get. Forget those old stereotypes of poodles as sissy dogs. They are eager, athletic, and wickedly smart, real dogs of remarkable versatility. The standard, with its greater size and strength, is the best all around athlete of the family, but all poodles can be trained with great success. And there's a few more in here we didn't discuss in this group. The Lao Chen, which origins have been up for debate, they can agree on the breed's birthplace. The name is German, but since the Middle Ages, Lao Chen were popularly among noble women of France, Italy, Holland, Spain, and Russia, as well as Germany. The Lao Chen descend from the same ancient line that produced such dogs as the Bichon Frise and the Maltese, and thanks to sightings in the Renaissance art of several countries, we know that the Lao Chen look hasn't changed for at least 500 years. And then on the bottom right, we have the Keys Hound. and in plural is Kieshunden, was a hard, nimble-footed barge dog long kept as guard and companion dogs on Dutch vessels that sailed the man-made waterways of the Low Countries. An unpretentious people's dog, the Kieshond was a symbol of the 18th century Dutch Patriots Party in its long opposition to the royal House of Orange. There's historical disagreement over why the breed is called Kieshond. The name might refer to a patriot dog called Keys, or to two different patriot leaders nicknamed Keys. And top left here we have the Schipperke, originating in medieval Belgium. Though many Americans say Schipperke, the correct pronunciation is Schipperker. The breed earned its fame as shipboard exterminators on the canals that crisscrossed the Low Countries. The little black avenger of the Belgian dockyards was also a fearless watchdog on barges and in city shops. It was among the sailors and shopkeepers of Brussels and Antwerp that these quick, agile dogs earned the nickname Schipperke, Flemish for little captain. Next, we have the terrier group. And people who are familiar with this group know that they have a distinct terrier personality. They are feisty, energetic dogs whose sizes range from fairly small, as the Norfolk or the Cairn or the West Highland White Terrier, to the Grand Airedale Terrier. They typically have little tolerance for other animals, including other dogs. Their ancestors were bred to hunt and kill vermin. Many continue to project that attitude as they're always eager for a spirited argument. Most terriers have wiry coats that require special grooming known as stripping in order to maintain a characteristic appearance. In general, they make good pets, but require owners with a determination to make their dogs lively characters. The American Staffordshire Terrier developed years ago in Great Britain. Several dog breeds were created to excel in blood sports. These were expected to fight one another, or they were turned loose in packs against a staked bear or bull, with spectators betting on the outcome. Such revolting pastimes have long since been outlawed, thank God. These sad spectacles did, however, leave us a happy legacy. Several of today's most loved breeds, the Bulldog, the Bull Terrier, and the American Staffordshire Terriers among them, got their start at fighting and baiting dogs of the 18th and 19th centuries. When it comes to the Bull type Terrier breeds, all can agree that the common component of their makeup was the Bulldog. Note that the Bulldog of over 200 years ago was a vastly different, more ferocious creature than the lovable sour mugs of today. Argument begins when breed experts try to nail down which pre-existing terrier breeds reside in the American Staffordshire's genetic background. Some suggest that such extinct breeds as the white English Terrier and the black and tan Terrier were part of the genetic mix that led to the creation of the Staffordshire. Next, we have the Bedlington Terrier in the middle there. They look like lambs in the show ring, and they are gentle as lambs around the house. So it comes as a bit of a shock to discover that the Bedlingtons spent most of the 1800s doing dirty and sometimes deadly work. Created in the Northumberland mining shire that gave the breed its name, Bedlingtons were a working man's dog expected to be versatile enough to be employed as coal mine ratters, varmint killers, and pit fighters. The breed acquired the nickname Gypsy Dog because it was used as the wandering Romanese as a stealthy poaching partner. An observer of the breed's formative years wrote that the Bedlington was the smartest and quickest of our terriers. They first identified the Bedlington Terrier. The first one was named Piper. It was bred in 1825. It said that Piper was so game that he was still dispatching badgers at age 14 and nearly blind and toothless. The nail makers of Bedlington took a fancy to the breed and became known for their plucky terriers. The Shire's miners and nailers wagered their salaries on epic dogfights, pitting their terriers against each other. A breed historian noted that Bedlingtons were never a mischief maker, but once they started fighting, it was to the death. And then we have the bull terrier on the right. Also pastime of bull baiting, in which bulldogs were turned loose on animals for spectators. By the more enlightened 1830s, blood sports with animals again were outlawed, but they didn't stop people from doing it. Basically, they simply went underground to evade the law. And bull baiting was, of course, too conspicuous an activity to continue illegally. Instead, the blood sport of choice became dog fighting, with dogs mauling other dogs in indoor pits, often in cellars and taverns. Because bulldogs proved too slow and plodding to provide much entertainment in these gruesome affairs, thus began the process of crossing bulldogs with terriers to produce the fighters and the power of a bulldog, and the animation and fiery spirit of terriers. Among the breeds created in this way was the bull terrier. Next, we have the Dandy Dinmont Terrier, that would become known as the Dandy Dinmont, made its debut in written history in about 1700. They were described as rough native terriers owned by border hunters in the Cheviot Hills between England and Scotland. The breed was said to be especially good at dispatching four-legged poachers as otters and badgers. Sir Walter Scott, Scotland's foremost novelist, was an admirer of the breed. For his 1815 novel Guy Mannering, he created a character named Dandy Dinmont, a farmer who keeps a pack of curious-looking pepper and mustard terriers. Scott based the fictional Dinmont on a real-life breeder of such dogs named James Davidson, who kept a pack of working terriers: Old Mustard, Young Pepper, Young Mustard, Little Mustard, and Old Pepper, the immortal six, still spoken of by dandy fanciers. It is said that every dandy alive today can be traced back to a dog named Old Ginger, sired by Old Pepper. Kelly Blue Terrier, the one in the middle on the bottom there, is named for its home country. The mystery of its beginnings gave rise to charming blarney about leprechauns, shipwrecks, and other fanciful origin tales. We do know that the Kerrys were hard-working, all-around farm dogs, cherished for their versatility. The breed was a mascot for patriots in the struggle for Irish independence, and since the early 20th century, they've been top winners in the show ring. A Kerry named Mick was among the great show dogs of the 2000s. The mini schnauzer is the last one on the bottom right there, known today as the also known as the standard schnauzer. One of Europe's supreme all-around farm dogs, has a lineage going back to at least the 15th century. Old-time German farmers bred the standard dog to the miniature size, the better to work as fearless barnyard dogs. They have a rat dog background, and they reside in the terrier group with other rat catcher breeds. The Mini is unique among the AKC terriers in that he has no British blood in his veins. The vast majority of the terrier breeds were developed in the British Isles. The few created outside of Britain, the rat terrier of the Sesky Terrier, for instance, were created with crosses to existing British breeds. Alone among terriers, the mini schnauzer is wholly a product of continental stock: standard schnauzer, Affenpinscher, and poodle. This explains that though the mini was born to the traditional work of small terriers, his personality is quite different. Not for him is the dour independence of the Scottish terrier or the fiery temperament of the Irish terrier. Rather, they are friendly dogs and spirited and obedient and willing to please. For the most part, the mini schnauzer ratting days are long behind him. The Norfolk Terrier was developed by Frank Rough Rider Jones, an English dog breeder, uh, bred as ratters and fox bolters. In the beginning, the Norwich with the ears up in the middle there, and the Norfolk with the ears down were considered one breed. In England and North America, they were both classified as Norwich, sometimes called Jones Terriers. They are also associated with Cambridge University, where in the 1870s and 80s, the students had them as pets, the undergrads, and they were in the dorms getting rid of rats. The Parson Terrier, or the Parson Russell Terrier, was developed in England in the 1800s to pursue fox below and above ground. The breed was named after Reverend John, the sporting Parson Russell, who loved hunting dogs. His terriers were bred with foxhounds to pursue clever foxes. He created them independent problem solvers, and today they still have a mind of their own. Scotties were developed to hunt rats, foxes, and badgers on the Scottish Highlands. The Scottish Terrier is a venerable breed. In fact, it is thought to be the oldest of the Highland Terriers. At various times, there have been controversy about the breed's origins, whether it's from Scotland or England, basically. Dog folks argued about this through much of the 1800s. They are humble farm dogs, but they also had friends in high places, as in 17th century England's King James I, who was a Scot by birth, used to give them as gifts. First, Scotty came into America in 1883 and were later, 2 years later, registered by the AKC. And they were also popular in the 1930s and 40s with owners such as Humphrey Bogart and Betty Davis. The Wheaten Terrier, bottom middle there, a soft-coated Wheaten, is from Ireland, and the share a common ancestry that with dogs that were bred for similar purposes, the Kerry Blue, the Irish. They are farm dogs, expected to do a number of things like ratting, guarding chicken coop, and even herding or bird dogging. When the day was done, they were engaging by fires, a role they still like. And then we have the Westies on the bottom right. They are nobles, which landed gentry and poor farmers on the long ago British Isles of both, all faced the same problem: infestations of rodents that pillaged grain stores and carried disease. The solution was the development of a vast array of terriers, earth dogs, adept at finding and dispatching rats. And let's take a look at the different Russell Terriers, which again originated in England as hardy working dogs flushing foxes out of burrows. Prone to cataracts and also congenital deafness. They are definitely high energy. They have two types of coat, the smooth and rough, and their height is about 10 to 12 inches, weighing about 9 to 15 pounds, with life expectancy of 12 to 14 years. They are jaunty little fellows which have a lot of personality, compact, rectangular body standing about 10 to 12 at the shoulder, dark almond eyes, V-shaped ears bringing out the keen, intelligent expression on the face. And all three coat types are mostly white with markings that are tan or black or both. Russells move with a free, effortless gait that announces the breed's confidence. The Cairn Terrier, which originated in Scotland, is also one of the three oldest terrier breeds. The name comes from the rocky dens where the foxes and the badgers live. They were bred to flush the burrow dwellers from their dens. Curious and energetic, the best known one is Toto from The Wizard of Oz. The height, about 10 inches for the male, 9.5 for the female, weighing about 14 pounds for the male, 13 for the female, with a life expectancy of 13 to 15 years. They have unique qualities, also called cairnishness, which includes a short, wide head, free-moving, short-legged body that exudes strength but not heaviness, topping out at about 10 inches high and 15 long. The double coat is harsh and wiry on top and downy beneath. A cairn presents as a small, shaggy, alert dog with head, tail, and ears up, and eyes shining with intelligence. British Breed Club promotes cairns as the best little pal in the world. Cairns are small enough for lap snuggle and sturdy enough for a good romp on the lawn. They do best with lots of close family contact for owners who cherish terrier qualities of gameness, independent thinking, and true blue loyalty. No other breed will do. The Airedale, again the largest of all the terriers, originated in England, bred to hunt otters and vermin, known as the king of terriers due to its size. They are used as guard dogs, messengers, and general military work in World War II. Lively, intelligent, stubborn, independent dogs that may not be the best with children. Height at 23 inches, weight 50 to 70 pounds, life expectancy 11 to 14 years. The males can stand at 23 at the shoulder. The dense, wiry coat is tan and black. Long, muscular legs give them that regal look. and the long head with its sporty beard and mustache, dark eyes, neatly folded ears convey keen intelligence. Airedales are the very picture of an alert and willing terrier, only bigger. And like his smaller cousins in the terrier family, he can be bold, determined, and stubborn. Airedales are docile and patient with kids, but won't back down when they are protecting their hearth and home. Thanks to their famous do-it-all attitude, Airedales excel in all kinds of sports and family activities. And just a little bit more, the rat terrier. So this breed is all about rats. They are terriers bred to kill rats. A good ratter was standard equipment on old-time farms where rodent infestation could mean the difference between having enough grain to last you through the winter and going hungry. But practical minded farmers expected their dogs to be more than specialists. So rat terriers also earn their keep as hunting partners, watchdogs, henhouse guardians, and childhood playmates. The Skye Terrier, the upper left here, Skye is one of Scotland's northern islands. In the 1600s, the rugged, hard-coated terrier bred by the island's farmers to control foxes and badgers became favorite of British nobles as well. The peak of Skye popularity came in the late 19th century when Queen Victoria championed the breed. These were the days, a historian wrote, when a duchess would almost be ashamed to be seen in the park unaccompanied by her long-coated Skye. And lastly, we have the toy group. They are little tough dogs, good lap dogs, good for city dwellers, lots of personality, with examples such as the Chihuahua and the Havanese. First in the toy group, we have the top left, the Brussels Griffon type dog. Well known in Europe for centuries, in Van Eyck's celebrated portrait of Arnolfini couple, we glimpse, which is 1434, we glimpse a distant ancestor of the Griff. It's a small Griffon type dog with a longer muzzle than today's flatter faced, pouty lipped version. The Griff story, however, properly begins in Brussels, Belgium's capital city, in the early 1800s. It was then that the Griff began his rise from the rough and tumble rat dog to sophisticated laptop companion. Coachmen of Brussels commonly kept these small dogs to keep the rat population down in their stables. They were typically Affenpinscher-like dogs known as Griffons d'écurie, or wire-coated stable dogs. The hack drivers experimented with various crosses to improve their dogs. No written records on these breedings survive, but people today have surmised that the pug, English toy spaniels, an old Belgian breed called the Brabançon, and perhaps even Yorkshire Terriers were all part of the genetic mix that produced the Brussels Griffon. Next, we have the Chihuahua. Likenesses of Chihuahua-like dogs have decorated artifacts of lost civilizations around the world. Trading among ancient cultures was more widespread than commonly assumed. So it is no surprise that these dogs, which look alike, were across the world. How the Chihuahua type first came to the peoples of Mexico, however, is a secret of prehistory. We do know that when the Toltecs held sway in Mexico about 1,000 years ago, their breed of choice was the Techichi, or larger, heavier ancestor of today's Chi. The Aztecs conquered the Toltecs in the 12th century. Historians credit the Aztecs with refining the Techichi into a smaller, lighter dog. By the time Spanish conquistadors toppled Aztec civilization in the 1500s, the Techichi was so integral to Aztec culture, it was considered one of Montezuma's fabled treasures, once presumed lost forever after the conquest of Cortez. But the hardy little dogs lived on in remote villages, and in the mid-1800s, when Americans began to take an interest in the breed, they found many specimens in the state of Chihuahua. So it was that the survivor of the lost two civilizations gained worldwide fame as the Chihuahua. The first AKC registered Chihuahua, a little guy named Beppy, was recorded in 1908. The Italian Greyhound, lower left there, there is archaeological evidence which suggests that the Italian Greyhounds were bred as noble companions 2,000 years ago in a region that is now Greece and Turkey, where the mighty Roman Empire held sway in the Mediterranean. The miniature greyhound was a popular companion and perhaps a small game hunter throughout southern Europe in the days of the empire, but the breed came into its own in the Renaissance Italy, where owning miniature versions of popular breeds was a status symbol among aristocrats and wealthy strivers. The Japanese chin, middle bottom there, historians have long debated the breed's beginnings. Some maintain it was a product of China, others say Korea. Various origin tales credit Buddhist monks, Chinese emperors, or European merchants with the chin's introduction to Japan, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 years ago. But all agree that it was the Japanese nobles who cultivated the breed as we know it today. The chin were unknown in the West until 1854, when Japan reopened for trade after 200 years of isolation. Lastly, on this slide, on the bottom right, there is the Maltese. Malta lies 60 miles due south of Sicily in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea. In ancient times, the island was a crossroads for pilgrims, mariners, and wealthy merchants from 3 continents as far back as 3500 BC. Malta was a thriving seaport and a seat of finance and culture. During a 2,000-year period beginning in the 1500 BC, this strategic gateway was conquered and occupied by successive waves of seafaring empire builders, Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, and more, for whom the island was a clearinghouse for precious commodities such as spices, silks, gemstones, and these dogs, which were loved by leisured ladies the world over. It is likely that the Maltese was introduced to Malta by the Phoenicians who ruled the Mediterranean before the rise of Greece. Top left, continuing in the toy group, is the miniature pinscher, otherwise known as min pins, which go back several centuries, but the exact point of origin remains murky. Breed historians accept the idea that min pins are a cross of the Dachshund and the Italian Greyhound. The German Pinscher is another possible component breed. Because their names are physical contours are similar, it's often mistakenly assumed that min pins are mini Doberman Pinschers. Min pins routinely reside at or near the top rankings of Europe's favorite toy dogs. Americans are pretty fond of them too. Papillons were originally bred as charming and attentive companions for noblewomen, and for hundreds of years, these little dogs were great favorites in the royal courts of Europe. They appear in many portraits of long ago queens and princesses, painted by Europe's most renowned artists, including Rembrandt and Toulouse, uh, are among the masters who included these dogs in their paintings. Next is the toy poodle, which we pretty much discussed is the exact replica of the standard poodle. City dogs, the toys are. And then the pug on the bottom left is often called the pug dog, is an ancient breed that can be traced back 2,000 years ago. The emperors of ancient China had a preference for flat-faced toy dogs like the Pekingese, the Shih Tzu, and the pug, were all developed as refined pets of the emperor, his family, and members of the imperial court. Like many breeds favored by Far Eastern of the ancient world, pugs were a closely held treasure that outsiders could acquire only as a gift. The pug's career as a citizen of the world began in the 1500s when Dutch traders returned to Europe with specimens of the breed. Legend holds that the pug became the mascot of Holland's Royal House of Orange when a pug saved the life of the Prince of Orange by barking to warn the prince of an attack on his camp by Spanish troops. When William and Mary of Orange arrived in England to assume the monarchy, their pugs accompanied them and began a craze for the breed among the British. Bottom middle, we have the Shih Tzu. When you own a little bit of Chinese history here, the imperial breeders in the palace of the Chinese emperor developed the Shih Tzu, meaning lion dog, centuries ago from Tibetan breeding stock. The breed is most likely the product of crosses of 2 even older Sino-Tibetan breeds, the Lhasa Apso and the Pekingese. For hundreds of years, the Shih Tzu lived the life of royal lap warmers and were pampered by emperors and their families. It is said that emperors would give valuable gifts to the breeders of these dogs who produced the most beautiful and affectionate dogs. The breed remained hidden behind palace walls, virtually unknown to the outside world until about 1930. Yorkshire Terriers on the bottom right there were developed during the mid 1800s in the northern English country of Yorkshire and Lancashire. It became a fashionable lapdog for English ladies in the late Victorian era, but the beginnings were distinctly working class. The breed is said to be the creation of weavers from Scotland who migrated to the English North Country and brought their Scottish Terriers with them. Several breeds of now extinct Scottish Terriers are part of the Yorkie's genetic mix, along with still extant terriers like the Skye and the Dandy Dinmont. One historical source suggests the addition of a Maltese blood. The Scott weavers were proud of their tough little terriers. They bred them small enough to squeeze in the nooks and crannies of textile mills in pursuit of rodents. And a little bit more about a Chihuahua. Be careful of these guys, by the way. They originated in Mexico. Again, they are thought to have originated from a fennec fox, which is a small nocturnal fox found living in the Sahara of North Africa. Sorry, and they tend to be one-person dogs. This is why I say watch out for them. They're very protective of their owners. Cesarean sections are not uncommon due to their large head and small framed pelvis. They can also be prone to patellar luxation and corneal dryness. They have two types of coats, the short and long haired, usually about 5 to 8 inches in height, not exceeding 6 pounds, with a life expectancy of 14 to 16 years. The Chihuahua is a balanced, graceful dog of terrier-like demeanor, weighing again no more than 6 pounds. They have the apple-shaped head and erect ears, full luminous eyes, which are acutely expressive. Coats come in different colors and patterns, can be long or short. The varieties are identical except for the coat. Chihuahuas possess loyalty, charm, big dog attitude. Tiny dogs require a lot of training. Without it, this dog will rule your house like a little Napoleon. Compact and confident Chihuahuas are ideal city pets. They are too small for roughhousing with kids, and special care must be taken in cold weather. But they are adaptable as long as they get lots of quality time with their owner. Back to the pug briefly again. They're from China with monasteries and royalty. They have that brachiocephalic shortened muzzle, which affects their dentition and rotation of their teeth. They are prone to facial dermatitis again because of the wrinkles. It's very easy to get a bacterial infection in there if it's not kept clean. They're very susceptible to allergies. They also are susceptible to medial patellar luxation, tracheal collapse, and blocked tear ducts. They can stand at 10 to 13 inches, 14 to 18 pounds, life expectancy of 13 to 15 years. Their motto is multum in parvo, which means a lot and a little in Latin, and pretty good description of the muscular breed. They come in silver, apricot fawn with a black face mask or all black. Large round head, big sparkling eyes, wrinkled brow, and very human-like expressions of surprise, happiness, curiosity that have delighted people for centuries. The breed is the ideal house dog, happy in the city or country, good with kids, old folks, and as the only pet or in a pack. They enjoy their food, and care must be taken to keep them trim because of some of the issues they're prone to. They do best in moderate climates, not too hot, not too cold, but with proper care, they can be pretty adaptable. The Cavalier King Charles Spaniel originated in England. They are great lap dogs, but they were originally used for game hunting. These are highly affectionate, eager to please, playful dogs. They are prone to a whole bunch of things, really. Patellar luxation, prolapse third eyelid, cherry eye, and mitral valve disease of the heart. They are usually about 12 to 13 inches in height, 13 to 18 pounds, 12 to 15-year life expectancy. They are beautiful, regal dogs. Toy Spaniel is no more than 13 inches high. The Cavalier draws you in with their face. They have sweet, gentle, melting expression, large, round eyes, silky, rich coat that can be one of their distinct varieties. They are aristocrats, but gladly descend from royal high horse for a backyard frolic or squirrel chase. They get along good with children, dogs. They do well with active owners, homebodies. They can be upbeat athletes or shameless couch potatoes, depending on the owner. And a side note here on what degenerative mitral valve disease is. So this is a problem with the valve located between the left heart chambers. The upper left heart chamber is called the left atrium. The bottom is the ventricle. The mitral valve disease can include either regurgitation, where the valve flaps, also called leaflets, they may not close tightly, which causes the blood to leak, or it can be mitral valve stenosis, where the flaps become thick or stiff and they can fuse together, which narrows the valve opening, which reduces blood flow from the left atrium to the left ventricle. So Cavalier King Charles, which we just discussed, are definitely prone to this. Dachshunds and other breeds. The symptoms that you would see in this dog would be a heart murmur, shortness of breath, exercise intolerance, coughing, increased resting respiratory rate. And we treat this with some of the same medications that we treat congestive heart failure with. The Chinese crested actually originated from Africa. The African hairless dogs were brought to China. They may be completely hairless except for tufts of fur on the head, tail, and feet, or may have a complete coat known as the powder puff variety. They are prone to sunburn, mostly due to their exposed skin and periodontal disease. They have a height of 11 to 13 inches, 8 to 12 pounds, life expectancy 13 to 18 years. They are lively and alert toy breed. Which again can be hairless or coated. The hairless variety has the smooth, soft skin and tufts of hair. The coated variety, called the powder puff, is covered by a soft, silky coat. Besides the coat, there is very little difference between the powder puff and the undressed brother. Both varieties are characterized by fine boned elegance, graceful movement, fun, playful dogs devoted to their humans. The hairless has its advantages, though. There is no doggy odor, and for obvious reasons, shedding isn't much of a problem either. Both varieties are good housemates, totally in tune with their family. So these two breeds are commonly confused with each other, the Shih Tzu and the Lhasa Apso. The Shih Tzu originated from Tibet again. Even though they're difficult to tell apart, the Shih Tzu is the smaller one, standing about 9 to 10 inches, 9 to 16 pounds, life expectancy 10 to 18. It is pronounced in the West Shih Tzu or Shih Tzu. The Chinese say Shih Tzu, weighing about 9 to 16 pounds. They are surprisingly solid. The coat, which comes in many colors, is worth the time. Being cute is a way of life for this little dog. They get lots of little hairdos. They are known for being especially affectionate. As small dogs spend most of their days inside royal palaces, they make great pets if you're in an apartment or don't have a big backyard. They like to dig holes and chase cats, but a Shih Tzu's idea of fun is sitting in your lap. And then the Lhasa Apso, not characterized as a toy, but found in the non-sporting group, prone to skin allergies and eye problems with their like bulging, protruding eyes. They're a little bit larger. Another breed is the Pekingese. Chinese legend says that it was bred by the Buddha, who shrunk a lion down to a dog size. There is some truth to this in that the Pekingese was bred down to toy size from a larger dog by the Buddha's earthly servants, the Chinese emperors and courtiers. For many centuries, the nobles were preoccupied with breeding these flat-faced dogs, such as the Shih Tzu, the Pek, and the Pug. It is said that stealing of one of these dogs was a crime punishable by death. The Pekingese were unknown to the West until 1860, when the British troops invaded Peking during the Opium War. Our next group is the working group. These are dogs that have jobs, guarding property, pulling sleds, performing water rescues. They are assets through the ages to man. The Doberman Pinscher, the Siberian Husky, the Great Dane are all included in this group. To name just a few, they are intelligent, capable animals that make solid working companions. They have strength. However, many of these working dogs are unsuitable for families as pets due to their size alone and their need to work. The Alaskan Malamute on the top left there is among the oldest sled breeds of the Arctic, named for Malamute, an Inuit tribe. The Malamute people developed this dog to haul heavy loads at low speeds over long distances, whereas sled dogs like the Husky pull lighter loads at faster speeds. Huskies are referred to as racers, where Malamutes are referred to as freighters. Bernese Mountain Dog in the middle there is from Bern, Switzerland. Um, the Burns drove cattle and guarded farmyards, and their biggest claim to fame is that they can pull many times up to or many times over their own weight as drafting dogs, and they because of their broad muscular hindquarters. The boxer on the top right there, ancestors of war dogs of the Assyrian Empire as far back as 2500 BC. A lot different from today's boxer, which was refined in Germany through the 18th and 20th century, originating from a larger German dog called the Bullenbeiser. And then bottom left, we have the cane corso. Plural of this is cane corsi. These are known as molossus dogs, which are ancient dogs from Greek tribes that were big bone guardian dogs, which during the height of the Roman Empire, they would occupy the Greek islands and brought these dogs back to Italy and bred them to the native Italian breeds. So these crosses were ancestors of the modern Corso and also the Neapolitan Mastiff. The original dogs were used as war dogs, charging enemy lines with buckets of flaming oil strapped to them. And it's supposed that these earlier Corsi were bigger than they already are, more lumbering dogs than the sleek-like version we have today. The Doberman Pinscher has its history with the tax collectors of Germany. Tax collector Louis Doberman from the town of Apolda developed this breed as a protector when he would go on his rounds. Um, and then we have the Great Dane on the bottom right, German breed, came to be associated with Denmark. They are known as the Deutsch dog or German dog. We know that once upon a time, German nobles used Danes to hunt ferocious wild boars. Later, Danes became famous as protectors of the home and loved ones. And top left, we have the Leonberger, which is unique among the big dogs of the AKC. They were developed first and foremost as companions. The breed was the brainchild of a Heinrich Essig, a 19th century politician and entrepreneur of Leonberg, Germany. Leonberg. Utilizing St. Bernards and Newfoundlands among other large working breeds, Essig's goal was to breed a majestic pet for European royalty, truly a dog fit for a king. He succeeded, and such clients such as Napoleon III, Tsar Alexander II, and the Prince of Wales, later King Edward VII, lined up to add this stately companion to their royal courts. The Mastiff in the middle there, again, tracing the history, we can avoid confusion by noting distinction between Mastiffs with a lowercase m and M capital. The traditional giant breed of England, sometimes called the Old English Mastiff, dogs known as Mastiffs, has been known around the world for thousands of years. Surviving evidence from ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, China, and Tibet all bear traces of these ferocious giant canines classified as Mastiffs, lowercase m. The Tibetan Mastiff, capital M, and Neapolitan Mastiff, capital M, are examples of these ancient breeds that have been endured to this day. The British Mastiff type, the AKC breed we know as the Mastiff, is similarly the ancient breed. When Julius Caesar led an invasion of of Britain in 55 BC. He was impressed by the mastiffs, who helped defend the island against its legions, and made note of it in a journal. British mastiffs were brought back to Rome to battle wild beasts and human gladiators in the arena. Next, we have the Saint Bernard in the year 1050. With the Alps, a monk named Bernard of Menthon established a hospice to aid pilgrims journeying to Rome. At 8,000 feet above sea level, with drifts high as 40 feet, crossing the pass was treacherous. Over several centuries, the hospice monks developed powerful working dogs able to locate and rescue luckless travelers buried by drifts and avalanches. Myth bust, dogs of the Great St. Bernard Pass didn't carry those little barrels of brandy around their necks. The Siberian Husky in the bottom right has a well-furred coat, erect ears, thick sickle-shaped tail immediately suggests the breed's northern heritage. The breed's ancestors were originally bred in Northeast Asia and were kept as companion dogs for their families as well as sled dogs. When challenging climate conditions forced these nomadic people to expand their hunting grounds or perish, they rose to the challenge by developing a sled dog which was capable of hauling light loads over vast expanses of frozen wasteland in sub-zero temperatures, with a minimum expenditure of energy. These people, isolated from the rest of the world, were able to maintain the purity of their sled teams for many generations. The dogs that were developed were the direct forerunners of today's husky. The Great Danes, again, were developed as boarhounds by the Germans. They are gentle and loving in disposition. They're good guard dogs, mostly because people will go running when they see these dogs because they're so large. Marmaduke, the most famous Great Dane, if you never heard of him. Height, usually 30 to 32 inches, 28 to 30 inches for the female, weight 140 to 175 pounds. For the male, and 110 to 140 for the female. Their life expectancy is usually about 7 to 10 years. They tower over most dogs, some people, and when standing on their hind legs, they are even taller and more intimidating. The powerful giants, pictures of elegance and balance, smooth, easy stride. Coat comes in different colors and patterns. Maybe best known as the black and white patchwork known as the Harlequin coat. Despite their sweet nature, Danes are alert home guardians. Just the sight of them is enough to scare someone away. But don't mistake the breed's friendliness for softness. You will meet a powerful foe of true courage and spirit. They are good with kids and are people pleasers. The Saint Bernard, another large breed, originated in Italy and Switzerland, again, bred for rescue. They can have smooth or rough coat. They have gentle, quiet temperaments. Beethoven owned a Saint Bernard. Their height is 28 to 30 inches for the males, 26 to 28 for the females, weighing about 140 to 180 pounds in the males, and 120 and 140 pounds for females. Their life expectancy is 8 to 10 years. They are not ranked particularly high in AKC registrations. Nonetheless, they are among the world's most famous and beloved breeds. The Saints' written standard abounds with phrases like very powerful, extraordinarily muscular, imposing, and massive. They have a huge head with a wrinkled brow, a short muzzle, and dark eyes, combining to give them the intelligent, friendly expression that was once a welcome sight to stranded travelers in the Alpine. And back to the boxer, just note that they are also brachiocephalic dogs. They were bred to seize and hold large prey. 18% of white boxers are born deaf. These dogs are good with children. Boxers are prone to several types of cancer. They are usually 23 to 25 inches for the male, 21 to 23.5 inches for the female, 65 to 80 pounds for the male. Females are about 50 pounds less than the males, with a life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. A boxer in peak condition is an awesome sight. Their muscles ripple beneath their short, tight-fitting coat, dark brown eyes, wrinkled forehead, gives the face an alert, curious look. They can be fawn, brindle, or white. Boxers move like athletes, and they have a smooth and graceful, powerful forward thrust in their gait. They are upbeat and playful. Their patience and protective nature have earned them a reputation as a great dog with children. They're watchdogs, and they take that job seriously. They do best when they're exposed to a lot of other people and animals in early puppyhood. The Huskies, again, originated in northeastern Siberia, bred by the Chukchi people to pull heavy loads across long distances. These dogs require a lot of exercise because they are highly energetic. They're graceful. Their eyes can be almond shaped with either brown or blue or both. They are quick. They have an effortless gait. They can be no more than 60 pounds. Um, and because they're born as pack dogs, they enjoy family life, get on well with other dogs. They can be pretty indifferent as watchdogs because of that. Breed is energetic. They can't resist chasing smaller animals, so secure running room is a must for them. They are an attractive breed and naturally clean with little odor. And a little side note about the Dobie. Again, they originated in Germany to protect the tax collectors. They are ranked fifth in the category of obedience and command training. They're energetic, watchful, fearless, and obedient. One thing that Dobermans are prone to is von Willebrand's disease. We're going to talk about more in a moment. It's a coagulation disorder. Um, which means that they have a problem clotting and they can bleed out easier. So if you do have a Doberman or another dog that's prone to something like von Willebrand's disease, something you might not want to do on them is a jug stick. For the reason that they have clotting problems. So if this dog comes in, we would try to avoid that, just knowing the fact that Dobermans are prone to that disorder. They can be 26 to 28 inches in height for the males, 24 to 26 for the female. Males can weigh up to 100 pounds, and females can weigh up to 90 pounds. Life expectancy of 10 to 12 years. They're compact, muscular, fast, powerful dogs. Sleek body, glistening coat of black, blue, red, or fawn with rust markings. They're combined with a wedge-shaped head and easy athletic gait. They definitely have a reputation as royalty in the canine kingdom. Um, okay, so what is von Willebrand's disease? It is basically a bleeding disorder caused by the lack of von Willebrand's factor protein. It is a protein that needs to be present at the time of the clot formation and primary hemostasis because it helps the platelets to stick better in that platelet plug. And if it is not there, the clotting process cannot take place the way it should, and the dog can bleed profusely. Some severe signs of this, you may see spontaneous bleeding from the nose, mouth, urinary, reproductive or intestinal tracts. Uncontrolled bleeding may also occur after surgery. Declaw removal, teething could cause excessive bleeding in the gums. They are because of this they can be prone to infections, endocrine disorders, and certain medications may make this worse, like blood thinners, for example. So in the event that you do have a dog with this, we can give blood transfusions and drugs that can assist in clotting. Obviously, they cannot have blood thinners. Again, you don't want to do a jug stick on a Doberman that just came in, just in case, or another dog that's prone to this. Other dogs that are prone to von Willebrand's are German Shepherds, Lab Retrievers, and others. And this test is diagnosed by a blood test for von Willebrand's factor. Another working breed we haven't discussed is this long-haired dog on the right here called the Commodore, which has been the king of Hungarian flock dogs, guarding sheep and pasture. They're confident and tough. They can run off wolves. Those dreadlocks give it a cool, funky look, but they aren't for show. They provide protection from extreme weather and sharp-toothed predators. The cords also let combs blend in with the sheep, give them the element of surprise. They do kind of look like sheep. The Newfoundland on the right-hand side there. Canadian fishermen have long relied on the Newfoundlands as shipboard working dogs who specialized in dramatic water rescues. They're born swimmers, they have partially webbed feet, and they are strong enough to save a grown man from drowning. Their prowess as rescuers is the stuff of legend. What the St. Bernard is to the Alps, the Newfoundland is to the icy waters of the North Atlantic. Newfoundlands also earn their keep by hauling fishing nets to shore and carting the day's catch to the market. Although the Newf's career as a seagoing deckhand is mostly a thing of the past, the breed is still considered the premium water rescue dog as an employed in that role the world over. The Newfoundland is one of the world's most beloved breeds, and its history is rife with examples of their dedication to humankind. In 1802, when Lewis and Clark began their historic 8,000-mile trek across the American continent, a Newfoundland named Seaman was part of the expedition. He was useful as a hunter and guard dog, once saving lives by running off a rogue buffalo that was charging the camp. Today, Seaman is depicted in 10 different Lewis and Clark monuments across the country. And then bottom left, we have the Rottweiler. The Rotties, or otherwise known, come from Germanic tribes. These dogs the Romans brought to these areas became foundation stock for the German breeds. In the centuries after the empire's collapse, the Roman drover dogs found work in the cattle town of Rottweil. It was here, moving herds from pasture to market and protecting all concerned from bandits and rustlers along the way, that they earned the name Rottweiler Metzgerhund, or butcher's dog of Rottweil. The Roddy's career in livestock ended around the 1800s with the rise of the railroad. They found new work as police dogs, personal protectors, and all-around blue-collar dogs capable of many tasks. They're among the first guide dogs for the blind, and in more recent times, they have distinguished themselves as search and rescue workers, used during the Oklahoma City disaster and the World Trade Center. Considering the many roles that they've played in history, it is remarkable that the butcher's dog has changed little in form and temper since its first German breed standard in 1901. Okay, so again, you will have to identify the breeds by picture. You don't have to know heights or weights or even any of the history that we discussed, but this is some of the stuff that you do need to know, and that is the breeds of dogs that are predisposed to these things that we discussed, like hip dysplasia, IVDD, skin issues, bloat or GDV, heart disease, and von Willebrand's. And they are listed here, the most common breeds that are predisposed to those things. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And that brings us to the end of this very long lecture on dog breeds.